Hi everyone, welcome back to Brookdale Farm. Well, it had been my intention today to do a video binding some hay using my 1936 Massey Harris Sunshine Reaper binder pulled by my little 1943 Fordson N. Unfortunately, the Fordson has developed a little bit of an issue, which means it's not going to go long enough today to cut any hay with. So we're going to have to swap tractors, unfortunately. Before we do that, let's have a look at the binder. Now, this was a common method of cutting hay back in the early 1900s through to the last guy, I think, stopped doing it for export chaff in 2010. There was one person over in York still doing it. That is because hay that's cut with a binder makes better quality chaff. But it's a lot of hard work, so when he wanted to retire, the kids did not want to take it over. Anyway, the way this machine works, there's a knife along the front there. These windmill arms rotate and pull the crop into the knife. The knife cuts it onto the conveyor belts here. The conveyor belts take it up. There's two conveyor belts here that squash it so the hay moves up between the two of these onto the platform here. We get a big bundle of it in here, and when there is enough weight on this lever here from the hay being pushing down on it, it triggers a mechanism that ties a string around it, and then this bit here rotates and spits it out down onto the ground. This gives us what is called a sheave. So this is our binder. I actually cut my very first crop with this and cut chaff. It was a lot of hard work. I was lucky enough to have about 20 good friends and family show up on the day to help stoke, and while I was cutting, they were running around stoking for me, which made things so much easier. Anyway, we'll put the other tractor on this now and see if we can't cut some hay with it. So this is a sheaf of hay as the machine spits it out. Now on some of these, they had a sheaf catcher on the side here that holds, I don't know, 5 to 10 sheaves, and then you dump them in a pile so that it's a bit easier for stoking. Now if we look at this sheaf, we can see the string here, and somewhere there will be a knot. That's a pretty daggy looking knot, but this is also the first sheaf, so it had the tail that had come out from the where I'd threaded it. Now, if you've got somebody operating this machine who knows what they're doing, so not me, you will find that you can pick it up by the string and the sheaves will balance, sit level. This one is tied just a little bit too far towards the top, so we need to move the knotter down a little bit further. We adjust the knotter with this lever here, and it always goes back to front the way I think it should, but as we move this lever, it moves the whole knotter tray backwards and forwards. So we want to move it back down just a little bit further.
This is the view from the driver's seat, and you can see just how many moving parts there are around you. We also get to see one of the other frustrating issues with this machine is that fairly regularly the belts would stop taking the hay up evenly, and everything would block up, and you'd have to jump out and clear them all, and then off you'd go again. Once everything polishes up and everything's working properly, this happened far less often. Once again, we're up on the driver's seat, and we can see that the right hand belt on top here isn't turning properly. Also, the magnetic mount I had my camera on wasn't quite strong enough, and the camera kept moving, so I couldn't get a good bit of footage of what the driver sees.
Well, unfortunately we had a little bit of a breakdown, so we weren't quite able to finish this last little triangle off, but that's okay. We've got a few sheaves cut with it. Around this side we've managed to cut enough to build a couple of stooks, so these are the sheaves stacked together into a little pile, and then they were allowed to stand here and dry like this. One of the major advantages with cutting hay like this is that once they're stacked like this, the rain doesn't particularly affect them. They will still dry even with a fair amount of rain on them, unlike the rest of the paddock of hay that we have here, which will get damaged by the rain. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this little video with us attempting to get the reaper binder working again. It is nice to have it working because it's been a lot of years since this has worked properly or at all. It's a very frustrating machine, but then it spits out a sheaf and suddenly it's actually quite good fun to operate when it finally polishes up and everything is working properly. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.